So if you live in Surrey and you're hoping for some good news that prices are going to come up, I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's most likely not going to happen. And when I'm looking at this graph in front of me here, if you've bought in the last 5 years, you've essentially lost money because prices obviously came up a bunch during the 2021, 2022, but we've now lost all of that gain sitting here in 2026. And the question that you should be asking yourself is how much farther is it going to go, right? And so that really, uh, depending what you're trying to do, can be scary, right? And so what I want to do here is go over all of the market data so that you have an idea of what to expect going forward. Because it's interesting, the real estate market year over year, more or less, the trends are exactly the same, right? When it comes to the sales, when it comes to the new listings, the active listings, it's pretty much the same. And so with most certainty, we can have a guess, an educated guess on what's going to happen here. And so here's the graph that I'm going to be walking you through here. It's very simple to follow along here. And if you want to follow along, you can literally go to the link in the description. I have this graph available. It's on my website, free to use whenever you want. There's no email sign up. There's no nothing. You can literally just click on the link. It'll lead you directly to this page. But what I want to show you here, and this is the last, 25 years of data here, thick line being detached, medium line being townhomes, and the other one being condos. As you can see here, negative 9.7%, 7.8%, 9.9%, and that's year over year prices. And right here, this is the prices of what things are costing right now. And so as you can see here, prices have essentially slipped pretty much past 2021's prices when it comes to the detached market. Now, we're basically there with the townhomes and the condos. But before I get into those three different avenues, I want to show you the all properties first, kind of talk about what's happening here as a whole in Surrey, and then get more into the nitty gritty here. And so medium sale price, as you can see, prices have continued to slide downwards ever since, COVID, but more realistically 2023, when things kind of settled out. So that should come as no surprise, unfortunately. And then when it comes to sales, let me just zoom back in here 5 years. What's happening here right now is sales are kind of plateauing, and this happens every single year, more or less, right? We get the initial spike of activity in the beginning of the year, right? You can kind of see it there. And then 2024, initial spike. 2025 wasn't as aggressive, right, as of a spike. And then now 2026, we're kind of seeing the exact same thing. And this is where we have this I would say certainty when it comes to knowing what's going to happen here, right? Every single year, more or less the same things happen, because when we think of the psychology of the human person, like, wintertime, nobody wants to do anything. And then springtime comes and everybody wants to do something. Summertime comes around, which we're in right now, and everybody wants to go on holidays. I don't think about real estate. And then when we come back to the September, October, people are back from holidays. They want to start doing something. And that's essentially when we see that second push. Now, 2023, we didn't quite see that push. But then 2024, we saw it drive upwards. 2025, we saw it drive upwards. And so we're most likely going to see the exact same thing coming into the fall, I should say, of 2026. New listings, kind of same thing. It's almost laughable what we're seeing here. What I will say is the average is that we do have less new listings than previous years. But I guess a lot of people are just like, what, do I really want to put my home on the market? Can I afford to move? And so these are the questions that a lot of people are having here. Active listings, as you can see, ever since 2022, we've been growing. But when we look at the all-year graph, which is always the most interesting one, as you can see, we're not quite, record levels of active listings, but we are climbing upwards. And so if you're a buyer here in the Surrey market, you're going to have more options and more availability as far as what's going on. And then when we look at the price of homes, prices are only going downwards. And so it really becomes a question of like, when do I hop into the market, right? Do I think it's going to crash more? Do I think it's going to stabilize? What do I think, right? So those are the questions that I would be having if I was a buyer. And then this is always an interesting one, to sales to active listings ratio. And essentially it's a ratio between actives and sales. And so right now they're saying it's a buyer's market here in Surrey. And again, this is across all properties. We'll get more into the detached home and condos just after this. And that's painting a different story, which is interesting. But it's 11.1%. And so if you're not sure what that means, you can click on these little icons. And any of these icons here I have, out of all the homes for sale, what percentage actually sold? This tells you who has the upper hand. Under 12% is the buyer's market. 12 to 20 is the balanced market. And over 20 is the seller's market. So right now, there's a lot of active listings, right? When we look here on the 25-year chart here, lots more active listings, and so buyers have more selections. And so naturally, when we see this number, the number go down, we more or less see this number go down, which is the home prices. And so, and then quite the opposite happens when you have more people chasing after fewer goods or the same amount of goods. Basically, you have the opposite happen. And so, right now, with most certainty, we're going to see prices continue to fall over the next year for sure. Days on market, this is always an interesting one. Like I always, when I have listings appointments with people, they're always like, well, how long is it going to take my house to sell? Well, 25 days on market right now. And again, that's across all types of properties. And then percentage of original price, this is always a good one for buyers, right? They're always asking me like, well, how much can I get off of, the original price? Well, right now you're sitting about 4.2%, right? So on $1 million home, you're looking at $42,000. Well, the average medium home price right now across the board is this, but obviously if you're buying a detached home, you're looking at the million to 1.3 million. And so you're going to get a little bit more money off of the ask. Now that's what's happening here as a whole here in Surrey. And so what I want to do here real quick is get into the detached condo and townhomes. And we're going to be looking at the same time here because I think that's going to paint the biggest picture here. And so as you can see, detached have gone down 13%, apartments have gone down 14%, and the townhomes. And I've seen this in a few different cities as well, where the townhome market seems to be holding the strongest. And so right now, if you're a seller and you're thinking of upsizing to a detached, it's actually a really good time to do so because I haven't seen these graphs yet, but I imagine there's going to be the sales active listings ratio is going to be stronger on the townhome. Days on market are probably going to be less, and the percentage of original price is going to be higher, meaning you're going to get more money, sell for quicker for your townhome, and then you're going to get a bigger reduction on that detached. Now, if you're coming from the apartment to the townhome, this is where you're probably going to be taking less money than you want for your apartment, and you're going to be paying more money than you want for the townhome. So it's a little tricky for that upsize right now. This is the medium sale price. Sales right now, the condo market seems to be kind of stagnant, but again, the detached and the townhome market is still quite active, right? We've seen, like, as far as sales over the last couple of years, it's quite normal. So keep that in mind. New listings here, again, we're seeing that same kind of graph when it comes to every year, right? New listings hit the market, December, less listings hit the market. And I always laugh because it does the exact same thing every year. Active listings, kind of same thing. Everything's been growing, which makes sense because that's what happened with the all properties. And the sales active listings ratio. So this is the one that I was referring to. So right now, we're heavily in a buyer's market with the detached. We're heavily in a buyer's in the apartment. So if you're looking at those segments, you're going to be getting a pretty good bang for your buck there when it comes to just money off. Let's just see here. Days on market. Yeah. So again, what I alluded to earlier is coming true, is basically townhomes, 18 days on market, detached, 28 days, apartments, 28 days. And this is going to be interesting to see this last one here. Yeah, exactly. Townhomes, basically 2.5% off the original price. Detached, 5.3%, and then the apartment, 4.2. And so this is kind of more for you buyers out there. You're thinking about, okay, what can I realistically get off the purchase price? And then sellers, it's just kind of just an expectation, like, hey, unless your home is marketed properly, which there's so many active listings in the market right now that this kind of lends itself to being like, okay, well, a bunch of the people who have their house on the market are probably overpriced, or they've probably been on the market for a long time. And that's one thing, like, I know this is kind of a flaw in the data too, is that this data, and I get the data from the real estate board, is that this data here only counts, and I'll be happy to be corrected if I'm wrong, but this is not a cumulative days on market, meaning if they take their house off the market and put it back on, it resets the day. So there's some homes that have been on the market for a long time, and then you start to question, well, why are you even on the market to begin with? So that's pretty much what's going on here in the Surrey market. Feel free to check out other markets as well. I have all the data here. It gets updated live every single month. What I wanted to show you now, if you're thinking about buying a home right now in the Surrey market here, I have a bunch of tools here. This is the live market graph, true home cost calculator, what I'll show you here in a sec, but a home evaluation tool. This is actually pretty cool if you're wanting to basically check out what the home should sell for. So if you're looking at buying a home, what do you think this AI thing would say your home is worth? It literally just takes all the solds, all the actives, and then just like, hey, this is what it thinks it's worth. And I'm blown away how accurate it is. And so go check that one out. I have live market reports as well. So if you want a market report of Surrey sent to you every month, you can literally, see what's going on here. You can literally pick which ones you want, and then essentially, put in your information, and then I'll get you those reports on a monthly basis. But this is the one I wanted to show you here, the true home cost calculator. So it's got home, a selling tab, a buy tab, and an own tab. So if you're selling your home, you're wondering how much it's going to cost you without having to talk to anybody, you can literally go through this tool, fill in the information that applies to you, and then it's going to spit out the net proceeds of how much you're going to have after all the expenses. And now if you're thinking about buying it afterwards, you can go to this tab here, find out what's going to cost you to buy a home, and then just see how much money you basically need. And then if you're just buying a home in general, like first-time home buyers, you can use this tool to see how much it's going to cost you. But this is the one that I said it before or earlier in the video. It catches everyone off guard. The lender gives them basically a price of how much money they can afford, but sometimes they don't factor, like they don't. What I'm trying to say here is the last thing you don't want to become is house poor, where you buy a home. Okay, financially they say you can buy it, and so you buy it, but then you don't realize, like, well, let's just go through the list here. You have annual home maintenance. If you're in a strata, you're going to have some extra fees. You have the mortgage, which obviously they're accounting for, electricity, gas, water, garbage, all these subscriptions that you probably have. And then if you're stratified property, there's even more things that are happening here. And so what you want to do if you're a first-time home buyer is, okay, this is how much it's going to cost to buy a home, but how much is it going to cost to own that home? And then you work backwards. Okay, what kind of current lifestyle am I having right now? And how much am I going to have to change that in order to buy this home? And so that's what I want to say to you. But if you are looking at homes right now, you're going to open houses, I want to encourage you to watch this video right here. It's how to spot a bad house in 60 seconds, where I literally go over things that you should know about a house so that you can be more educated when you're walking into these situations or these homes. So go check that one out. But as always, I appreciate you watching, sticking around with me, and I'll see you in the next one.